Hi, everyone.
I can see anyone, but yeah. Hello,
We cannot
hello.
see everyone, but we totally see that people are joining. Hi, everyone. Let us pull out the chat as we can see you guys. Okay, I will start as everyone joining. Welcome to our Wet Wipes live session. It's a very special session, not only because we have Alison with us, but we are broadcasting from New York.
Hello.
And we just met some of you on the Bridal Fashion Week, so we will be excited to share all the insights tomorrow. But today we have a live session. And we are honored to have incredible Alison with us, a world-renowned wedding planner who has truly shaped the global wedding industry. And you, Alison, keep disrupting this industry as we speak, and every project you do set up the new trend, as many others try to follow. And so I see that you already start greeting everyone, so that is a great move. So before we will dive in, I will ask you as a tradition to put in the chat your name, your location, where are you joining from, or where is your market? Like I'm joining from New York, but I live in Los Angeles, and your name, profession, and location. And of course, don't hold yourself and put all kind words to Alison, to Wet Vibes team, or to each other. And we always encourage you to put the chat on fire. And as we will have the conversation, put your comments, ideas, questions, and take advantage of this session. And that is a great time to pick up the brains of the most renowned wedding planner. So take this advantage of this 1 hour. And as you guys know, Wet Vibes, our mission is to discover and elevate your talent and convert your talent into the profit and success. And we empower you with all kinds of marketing tools and also foster this supportive community of like-minded wedding professionals where we can have these transparent conversations about the behind the scenes of the business. And today, Alison will walk us through her newest book, Gorgeous Gathering, and where we share the key highlights of her journey in the industry. Also, Alison will talk about how to build a consistent brand and online and offline. And I hope that Alison, you will also give some hint of advice on the most anticipated question, how to start working or connect with a celebrity planner. So with that, guys, keep introducing yourself in the chat. I will read it shortly. And also, Alison would love to know who is joining. And with that, I will pass over to Daria, as you can give an extensive introduction.
Yeah, for the guests who needs no introduction, but I will still try. So, hello, Alison. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, as many of you know, the Alison and her team have been named the best wedding planner, of course, by us, by Wed Vibes, but also by Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and so many other magazines. And her clients list are out of the roof. Her clients list include celebrity names like Seth Rogan, Jesse Bongiovi, Sophia Bush, Evan Williams, and others. Correct me if I'm forgetting someone of some of your favorites. Yeah, and I'm sure there are like many others. So I just read on your website that you've been doing it for more than 20 years, and you and your team, of course, organized over 500 events, which is incredible. And I mean, you have like so much experience, so much knowledge. You've mastered the art of creating an unforgettable experience all around the globe. And as I love this description on the website, and I would love to repeat it here. So Alison Events are not just planners, they're storytellers. They're chasers of awesome. I love that, especially. And your passport to unparalleled style. And congratulations on your third book, as Alina mentioned, Designing Unforgettable Weddings and Luxurious Celebrations. And we would love to hear about it more. And we cannot wait to read this book. And we'll recommend you to you guys as well. And yeah, welcome everyone. I can see people here joining us from all around the world, from Madrid, Santa Barbara, Germany,
Czech Republic.
So great
Amsterdam.
to see you here.
Oh, so great to see. So we have all continents, and the Australian people, you will watch the recording. All right, so now, Alison, the floor is yours. And welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I actually really like this format because I can't see everybody, So I can't really be nervous, right? There's no
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, it's just us chatting in the room. Yeah.
I mean, I do kind of wish
Totally.
I look at everyone's faces, but my staff will tell you I kind of hate being on Zoom calls because I'm usually multitasking like 8 things at one time. So I like when I'm generally on a call. But here we are, we're on the Zoom. So hi, my name is Alison. And as they mentioned, I'm going to be talking about holistic branding, or that's the title that we came up with today for this presentation. I am not a marketing major. My degree in college was natural resource, recreation, and tourism. The verdict was out with what I was going to do with my career. There was maybe a kayaking instructor. I could have been,
Yeah, I just thought I would ask, yeah, what, how can you work
I
after
didn't know.
this?
I honestly didn't know. I went to school in Colorado and I spent a lot of time snowboarding and partying and having fun. And I loved the outdoors, right? So I love the
Yeah.
outdoors. I love traveling. I did a year in New Zealand. I did an exchange program in Japan when I was in high school. So I got the
Yeah, I
bug
just read
pretty
about
early.
it. Yeah, such an extensive like traveling experience. Yeah, especially at a young age. Yeah.
So I thought like, yeah, I want to do something with travel. And so I like spent many times having conversations with coaches in college, like what are the career options for me? And really it wasn't until I graduated from college that I was flipping through the newspaper, trying to find out like what I was going to do. And I started working for a outfitter that specialized in New Zealand tourists coming to America, coming specifically to Los Angeles where I was living. So I thought, I lived in New Zealand, I could totally do this, right? So I kind of started in this world of adventure opportunities for people traveling here. And it just kind of led into event planning from there. And that was in 1998 that I graduated. And so, yeah, I'm almost going on 24 years. But really quickly, before I get into it, because I want to get to the next slide. So I'm giving away 1 hour of coaching. And it's going to go to the 17th person that signed up for this presentation. And I'll tell you who that is at the end. Okay, so back to us. So we are a team. This is a photo of our team from a wedding, or sorry, a birthday party that we just produced in Punta Mita, Mexico, at this beautiful property called Naviva. It's a Four Seasons product. And we did a 50th birthday party for 43 people over 3 days, where we had tons of activities for them to do, 3 nights of parties, board games, pickleball, surfing, golfing, like all the things. And so we are currently a team of 4, and we have tons of freelancers. We have freelancers that work for us for other companies that we bring in when we travel the world. And so this is kind of a fun little photo that we took, which is funny because everyone is like sweating and you can't even really tell in this photo. But it was
You cannot.
a very hot day.
Yeah.
But we are all matching. One of the things that I like to do is provide uniforms for my staff. I feel like it's nice to not wear a name tag, right? Old school, you'd have a name tag, and that feels like a little formal and kind of corny to me. So I feel like doing something where you're matching or slightly matching. So these are the primary dresses. The 3 of us are wearing Ulla Johnson dresses, and we have kind of a smattering of Ulla Johnson that we wear when we work events. And it's super fun. And Lauren, you keep texting and I keep getting those dings and I don't know how to turn the dings off.
That's okay. No worries.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but Lauren, you're
No, we
texting.
cannot. It's
can.
only you. So
Yeah.
Okay, good.
it's only you got disturbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, so uniforms is one of the things that we like really find fun, because not only are we like a team of people that are either matching or slightly matching, but people can identify us. So and you know, we like our team, we really like to have fun. You know, when we're spending 5 to 10 days away together in a different destination, like we generally have some sort of a group dinner where we drink and overconsume before we get going and putting our head in the game. We like to laugh a lot. We're definitely trying all the food in the back. We are making fun of each other. We are reading each other's minds. We're just really trying to have a good time and really kind of blend with the guests. Our kind of whole ethos is like, we're there throughout the weekend to be your kind of middleman between the guests and the client, but we also want to be fun and engaging and have conversations. So we do sometimes wear headsets. I hate a headset because I can't concentrate all the time with people in my ear and talking to clients. But we like to engage with our clients, and we like to really be a part of the event and make them feel taken care of without feeling overly doted on. So anyways, next slide. This is just a little bit about my background. So as they mentioned, I started my business officially in 2003. I produced my first book in 2009. This book was meant to be like a 3-ring binder wedding planner, and it was covered with like really beautiful images from different destination events I had done around the world at the time, which I hadn't been in business for very long. It had only been 6 years. So I put this binder together. It was really fantastic. It came out in 2009, and then there was a recession. So this book didn't do so good. It came out right when the world was kind of falling apart. But several years later, I went back to Chronicle and I said, I feel like we didn't really do good on that first book. I think we should try it again. And what I really wanted to do on the first book is do an actual 3-ring binder. This was like a mini 3-ring binder. The idea was that you could throw it in your purse and you could write notes, but it wasn't realistic because most of the documents that we get are 8.5 by 11. So then I came out with a real binder, which was a 3.5 by 11 binder, which is exactly how we were using our binders in the office. It was less about the imagery. It was more about downloadable documents, budgets, templates. It really had kind of everything you needed. There was 18 tabs, so you could literally divide your binder by your budget, your guest list, your venue. It really was like a full-on organizational tool.
Yeah, the perfect helper for the bride.
Oh, totally. And honestly,
yeah.
it was literally a carbon copy of what we were doing, in-house at Alison Events. So we produced this binder, sold over 100,000 copies. I got a check every 6 months for almost 10 years. Pretty crazy, right? Had no idea that it was actually going to do so well. So then a couple years later, this was in 2013. So then I called my editor back. Editors change, they come and go. And I said to my editor, I feel like we should do another binder. I feel like it's dated, that style of the binder. Let's do something fun and different. And I also feel like there's a lot of content that's changed, right? Like everything is digital now. And so I want to talk about that and how we approach the wedding planning process. So my editor said, but I have a better idea. What if we were to do a beautiful coffee table book that had tons of imagery of events that you've done over the years, but also had tips and ideas and trends and, all types of things. And that's how this third book was born. So I'm really excited, and I'll talk a little bit more about this book when I get down to the bottom. But hopefully this is not only like a pretty book to put on your coffee table, because I don't know about you, but I generally buy books to put on my coffee table. I probably
same here.
Honestly, I don't think I read most of them. They just look pretty, and I put them on my coffee.
They work great for Instagram content. For taking and
totally. But there is actually quite a good amount of content in there. And it's funny because when we were writing it, I was like, is anyone going to even read it? So hopefully some people will read it, or you'll just...
We will read it for sure. I promise you that.
Everyone in the room.
Yeah, everyone in the room. Yeah.
We have 86 people.
Yeah, there'll be homework. I'm going to give homework.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide.
There is a secret word on page 120.
What's funny is I actually, when I first came out with that binder, I gave all my employees the binder, and I hid inside their binder like a secret page. And I said, you guys have to read this entire binder from front to back. There's something hidden in there. And if you don't read, I'm going to give you a test. So we all read it and everybody passed.
That's a marketing trick.
We have to do it with our study also.
Yeah. You guys do that? Okay,
I mean, we are marketing experts. We know all about that. How to hit some gems.
How to motivate people.
How to motivate,
Right. Well, anyways, I'm glad my staff passed. Okay, so today's chat, and just so you know, a lot of these images we dropped in here don't necessarily correlate with what I'm talking about. They're just fun images that we threw in there. This image I absolutely love. This client just got married at the New York Public Library in the spring, and they wanted to have pizza late night. And this was an organic moment. It wasn't planned that we were going to bring the pizza box out on the dance floor, but like it happened. And here's this like luxury, beautiful wedding. And here's the bride like crushing a pizza on the middle of the dance floor. So I just love this. It's just like a real moment. It's not poised. It's not like we branded the box or branded the plate. Like she's got a paper plate there. It's greasy. Thank God she didn't stain her dress. But I just like, I think that these types of images are the types of images that couples want to see more now. You know, back in the day, if we want to back it up like 20 years, all that existed in the world was Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart was like the Bible. It would come, you know, every couple months or every month. I don't even remember. But I would literally get the magazine and I would be so obsessed and I would read it cover to cover because it was like all that we had. And the thing that I loved about Martha Stewart, it was so pretty, right? It was telling a story in a very pretty way. But I think some of the faults to that was that it wasn't showing any of the gritty, right? It wasn't showing any of the behind the scenes. You couldn't really see like what the challenges were. You didn't see like they would never put a photo like that in there. But I feel like now when you're looking through portfolios and the more I talk to photographers about galleries and like, how do you showcase your work? Images like this is like real talk. This is behind the scenes. This is like a real moment that's happening throughout your event. So when you're curating your portfolio on your website or your Instagram, like don't forget about this type of stuff. Don't forget about the B-roll. Like really you want to set the scene, right? You want to give the reader, give the visuals of like, where are you? Like this could be anywhere. So you'll notice if you go through this gallery on our website, which is based in New York City, there are some like iconic photos that identify where they are in the city, even though they're not at the New York Public Library. And then there's some of these gritty photos mixed in with the gorgeous, pretty, perfect photos. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about this like online print and team presence and like how you have brand consistency and how you do collaboration. One of the things that I think is really important to note is that, you know, when people are looking at your portfolio, they're trying to really understand like, who are you in the world, right? Because we're putting forth all these images of other people and pretty things, but like, how does that identify how you are as a person or like what your team is like or what it's like to work with you? So I do feel like it's important for you to have pretty photos, but also to have a little bit of realness and a little bit of like grit and a little bit of personality. And how do you do that exactly, right? Like, how do you find the DNA of who you are? I think it's important when you're interviewing your staff that you're really kind of talking about, oh, and you can go to the next slide. Awesome. I think it's important that you're talking about like, what is important to you? Like, how do you want to be articulate? You know, how do you want to communicate to your potential clients? So here's an example of our Instagram, our Pinterest, and our Facebook. So very consistent, obviously, with our logo. And just so you know, for many, many years, my logo was orange. And that was like my iconic thing. Like everything in my life was orange. And then I just like one day hated orange. And we decided that
You decided to switch it to blue.
we decided that navy was just like cleaner and more sophisticated. So I've had this logo from the very beginning. A friend of mine, funny enough, he's like one of the creative directors at Apple. He made this like AE for me many, many years ago. And we just kind of stuck with it. So I think coming up with is like, what is your branding, whether it's like the AE, if your company is 2 names, or even if it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be your name in it, just needs to be consistent through all of your materials. So on our Instagram, we try to be very visually consistent from the AE down to the little circles. Our typeface is very consistent. Like those are things that I think are important. You know, early on in my career, I would always kind of laugh because, you know, when I would meet new vendors, I would talk to them and say, you know, tell me a little bit about your work. And they would send me their Instagram and I'd be like, Instagram is a place professionally, right, where you're showcasing your work and you're telling your personality. You don't put your baby on there and you don't put your dog, and maybe you do, but very, very randomly, I would put it on there under your stories, but not under your main page, because this is really where you're building your portfolio and where you're building your kind of overall look and feel. So I do try to stay a little private with my personal life. And if I do post photos of myself, or my staff, or I don't even know that I really post that many photos of my child. I do post them, but I try to keep it as little as possible. I have my own personal Instagram account, which is cats and kids and like silly images that are not perfectly posed or anything like that, which I have my friends and my family on, but I really feel your business account needs to be really clean and consistent from your Instagram, your Pinterest to your Facebook. Now, I don't do a ton of like Facebook posts. I was actually looking at this and I'm like, oh my God, we haven't posted on Facebook in like so long. So I've been doing the Instagram to Facebook automatically posting. That keeps my Facebook moving. But we did recently go into Pinterest and really post. And this is something that I learned in SEO, and you girls could probably speak to this. But we've recently been working with a woman who specializes in SEO, and she's like, make sure your Pinterest is really up to speed with all of your newest work. And we just posted like 6 new galleries and redid our website. Is that right?
Yeah, we second that for sure. So Pinterest, yeah, is I would say is the most important SEO tool today.
Right.
It will happen with a Google search, with any kind of like the searching engine.
Yeah, and I can build on for the wedding industry study where you've been an expert. We also had interviewed couples. So 74% of couples use Pinterest for inspiration. So Instagram is like non-negotiable number 1, but number 2 is Pinterest. So
Wow.
totally someone can discover some of the picture on Pinterest, and if it leads to Instagram or website, that is basically a great traffic builder and a great introduction to your brand.
Yeah. So I would just say, make sure that you have consistently visually in all the mediums that you use. I'm not on TikTok. Brooke, who's on our team, she runs all of our social media. And so she's posting on Instagram for us. She's the one that's creating our newsletter. But TikTok is just a space that we haven't kind of dove into. But talk to us a little bit about TikTok. Like, what's the scoop on that? I do hear that I should be on it.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok right now, we will definitely, recommend to try it, because like TikTok today, and I can see like so many brands actually coming to there, like the fashion brands, all the medias like Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. They also, it took some time, but right now I can see all of them on TikTok. I feel like it's more about, like you said on the previous slide, it's all about more real, raw moments to showcase. It's gonna be completely different from your Instagram and Pinterest, because like people on TikTok, they value emotions and like backstories, maybe some catching short teasers of like some touching, like tear-jerking moments. It will work on TikTok, but TikTok right now is the biggest audience traffic building that can lead to Instagram and Pinterest and your website as well. So we will definitely recommend to try it, but you have to have like the dedicated person to it. So if Brooke can manage it,
she's gonna kill me if I told her to put that in the queue.
That's what I thought. So in terms of, we just know like it have to be like the luxury to have someone else on your team to do it, because like, it just completely different strategy. Instagram and Pinterest, they kind of like, I mean, you can also repost everything from your Instagram to Pinterest, like you do on Facebook, right? But with TikTok, it's a different strategy. So we will recommend it. But if you have some extra time,
I would build on, because it's good to be everywhere, but talking about choosing your battles, and everyone has to choose battles. Instagram for sure, number 1. And if you have some spare time or resources, TikTok is good, nice to have. Some of wedding professionals now, mostly youngsters, they grow via TikTok. However, it's still not the biggest platform for couples to look for vendors and to connect. So if you have to choose, Instagram for sure, number 1, and TikTok is to build on. And so we can.
Yeah, and I can see a question about Facebook, and as Alison mentioned, like, and I can tell the same about us. The Facebook right now, it doesn't feel like it's super active, vibrant, active these days. So I would say, like Alison, like we do the same thing. We repost. We basically just repost everything from Instagram. It doesn't take much time just to connect it to Instagram, and that's it. We don't feel like it's trendy right now. It doesn't.
No, I mean, according to our study, couples didn't really mention Facebook. So
I feel like the only people that ever post anything on Facebook are like my mom's friends.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they get married, they
Yeah.
will totally find you.
Right.
But
The parents are, but the parents are still on Facebook. So I think even though the couples, I mean, we get a lot of calls from moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
anyways,
That
okay,
makes
next
sense.
slide.
That makes
all right,
sense.
let's
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
moving.
But maybe doing a topic on TikTok would be good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's a good next
We'll-
webinar.
yeah.
So, retaining the right people. You know, having done this for so many years, I've had probably 20 to 30 employees over the years. I have had a team of 8. I've had a team of 2. We're currently a team of 4. I think all the models work. It just depends on how hard you want to work and how much you're going to work and how many people you want to manage. I think the most important piece is to identify people that are going to be in line with your vision, represent you in a way that's similar to the way that you speak, the way that you act. I mean, all my girls that work with me, and we do have boys that work with us as well, but we all are very different and unique in our own way, but we're all very interwoven. We all have different backgrounds in terms of like what we studied or where we worked or where we shine. But we all can do what we can all do each other's jobs. We all understand and respect each other. And so it's been very important to me when finding new employees, which funny enough, most of the people that I've hired in my entire career found me. I didn't find them. And they were people with no to little experience or some sort of slight background. One of my long-term employees who now has a very successful company, Kelsey Shofsky, she has this company called Shelter Co. And she's about to launch a brand new property in Guerneville, California called River Electric, which I've invested in. It's a beautiful property that's going to be like a modular pool tent camp type spot. You know, she was with me for almost 6 years, and you know, we just like we got along. We had very similar styles, both personal styles, aesthetically what we liked. We had the same kind of irreverent humor. You know, we took our job seriously, but we sure as hell knew how to laugh behind the scenes and make fun of not only ourselves, but of the situation. I had several people who've worked for me for many, many years who are now very successful and have their own businesses. So I think it's just really important that you know, that you ask a lot of good questions. One of my really good friends who is basically like a headhunter for an advertising company told me a really great tip that I used in many of my interviews. Like, what did you do in high school and college for work? I think asking somebody like what they do and what they did during that time shows like work ethic and shows that they were working hard. And, you know, sometimes the answer is I was like playing sports and so there wasn't time for jobs, or, you know, maybe they were doing part-time work on the side. But I think that like getting somebody that has a really strong work ethic, somebody that is really passionate about what they do, somebody that is like really down to earth and very relatable. I have a girl on my team that doesn't watch like any TV. She's not like, hasn't seen the latest shows. She's a bookworm. She is like totally head down and fully focused, cranking out spreadsheets, finding every little tiny minute error that she sees in a contract. She is like fabulous. And then I have another girl on my team who's like so up to speed with the latest TV shows and I don't know, Housewives of Jersey and all the things. And you know, you kind of need that on your team. You need somebody who can be like remembering every single detail because, you know, there's a lot of details going through your head, and you need somebody who can socially have the conversations with your clients. Most of our clients are in their 20s and early 30s. I'm 48 now, so I don't feel like I'm not relevant anymore because I do watch the shows and I do pay attention, and I feel like I'm very kind of forward in terms of my thinking and fun and cool. At least I think I am. My daughter might tell you otherwise. But you need younger people on your team that are also kind of fun and fresh and can kind of talk the talk.
Yeah.
So I think having a diverse group of people on your team from, you know, young and old and interests and because every client is different, every client's going to relate differently. Somebody might want somebody that is more fun and outgoing, and somebody else, maybe you're working more with the parents and they want somebody that's taking a little bit more seriously and less emotional. So I think having that diversity is important. I also think like having opportunities for your team members to grow. Like titles to me have always been this like silly thing. You know, I'm always like, what do you want your title to be? I don't really care. Like you could, whatever title you feel like you want to be, because ultimately at the end of the day, again, we all do the same thing, but titles, I think for younger people are more important, but we've like all come up with our own titles. I think I called Kelsey the creative director like 10 years ago. And my boyfriend at the time who worked for Apple was like, you can't be a creative director if you're not creative directing people. Like you can't
I
just
mean, it doesn't matter. They all could be
She-
SEO,
she enjoys her role.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
the head of
title thing for
department.
me, but I do think that some clients still look at that. They see the title. So I think like be flexible. Like who cares? If your staff wants to be the creative director, if your staff wants to be the director of whatever, like give them the title, allow them to feel proud and feel accomplished. And it gives them seniority. It gives them, establishes like, you know, management skills. So I'm really flexible with titles, and I think that they can be also really fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
empowerment.
it costs you nothing, but it gives them, this like the boost like of confidence and everything. Yeah, so I love it.
So the title thing to me is kind of fun, and I also think, you know, you want to empower them, and you want to let them shine, and you want to give them the credit for things. So a lot of the times, you know, when I'm on calls with new leads, I often like highlight the components of each of my staff and what they're really great at. And I think that's something that, you know, probably 10 years ago, I might take the credit for all the things because I felt like I was really managing everyone then. But now I really feel like give them the opportunity to shine, show your clients that you have really capable, enabled staff, and make them feel really proud and really great about what they do. So that to me is really important. Also time off, treats, buy them things, take them out to dinner, buy them a plane ticket, give them bonuses if they did a really great job on a project. You know, all those things feel really good, you know. Also, maybe understand what their love language is. I mean, I think that's an important thing, is like, how do they receive love, right? Do they want to be told they're great? Do they want a present? You know, do they want you to say, hey, let me take this off your plate, take the day off?
Yeah.
You know, try and figure that out too. Okay, next slide. So another piece that I think has, you know, been important for me over the years is kind of knowing when to outsource, because you can do it all until you can't do it all, or you can do it all until you're just totally burned out and fried. And trust me, when I started my business, I literally did everything. I mean, I lived in a studio apartment. I had an IKEA desk. I flipped it up during the day to have my desk. I flipped it down at night so I had enough room to move around in my little studio in San Francisco. I had a freelance staff that would come in, and we would sit there on my tiny little desk, and we would work, and we would do all the things. I didn't have Instagram when I first started. You know, we were like flipping through Martha Stewart and ripping out pages to kind of be inspired by what the cake was going to look like for our next wedding, or tearing out photos of bouquets to put in the inspiration part of the
Yeah, I
binder
remember
for our
doing the same
clients.
thing, creating the collages.
Yeah. I know. It's funny because we have a book party on on Tuesday in San Francisco. And I found my binder, my original inspiration binder from like 2003 to 2010.
I would love to see it.
Oh, I'm bringing it. It's amazing. I broke it out by cakes, escort cards, centerpieces. It's like incredible. It's really funny. But yeah, we would take it out and we cut it and we put together this little mood board, and then you would like maybe would scan it and send it to the client. So it's a very different time now. But with Instagram, with social media, with all these components, I think you have to kind of figure out like what are you really good at? Like, you should know what you're really good at this point in your career. And for me, you know, I designed weddings for so many years, and I just kind of felt like I was ready to turn that over. So in the last 5 years, we actually had a very specific creative director. Her dedication was just to design the projects. Now, we still collaborated. We still worked on design decks together. We still talked about what are the rentals and the napkins, but like, that was her job. And I really gave her that position to kind of run with that. Not a lot of people do that. Same thing with Instagram. I have a 9-year-old, and I have a boyfriend, and I'm a single parent, and I have employees, and like, I have all the things, and I have a social life, and I'm like, I can't keep up with social media right now. It's a lot of work. And I feel like the trends are moving quickly. And so I wanted to hire somebody that specifically did social media. We had originally hired a woman and paid her. She was like a social media expert. And, you know, we were going through and post after post, and it was like, it wasn't really resonating with us. It was missing the voice. It was missing the language. There was too many emojis. I was like, I wouldn't say that. I hate that song. I would never use that song, you know? So we were like, let's just take this back and do it in-house. And we did it in-house for about a year. And then we were like, I don't know, this is like a lot of work. It's so hard to do that on top of actually get your work done. So we kind of re-collaborated, and now Brooke, who's running our social media, is doing an incredible job. She understands our voice. She works our events. She's physically been there. She can explain it. And our Instagram is meant to be like delightful. It should tell a story. It should tell you about what they ate and what they drank, and, you know, the fun moments that they had. And so I think it should not just be about just the design and just the pretty things. It should also tell the story of the other things that go on. And maybe that might be the thing you're most interested about. But I think for us, we were telling the story about how pretty it was, and we were kind of missing the plot for a long time. So hopefully you can look at our Instagram and feel like we're doing a good job. I think Brooke is crushing it with this PR move that we're going through right now with the book. Brooke and I have been solely doing PR now for 6 months, and it's such a challenging thing to sell yourself. It feels awkward to like send an email and be like, will you buy my book? Will you please post about my book? Like, you know, so she's been really great. And we have had a really fun time showing and showcasing some of the quotes that are throughout the book. But again, PR is something that you can outsource. We chose that we were going to do this in-house since we had the time. But having a publicist is great. You know, they have contacts to people that you would never necessarily have access to. So you just kind of have to figure out like, where are you making money, basically? Where do you make the most money, and how are you making money? And then figure out like what you're going to do, and then outsource the other things, and outsource whether or not you're doing it in-house with an employee, or you're outsourcing like hiring a service. You know, you got to look at your bottom line budget and figure out like what you can afford. And make those decisions. But maybe doing a 6-month PR campaign and ramping up and getting connected to all those editors that you don't have access to is worth doing it. And then you have the access, and then you keep up with the relationships. Maybe having a social media manager come in, and maybe they're doing a strategy for you over 6 months to a year. You know, you don't necessarily have to hire people to do the full thing. Maybe there's some sort of hybrid where you can have them do the posts, and maybe you do the comments. But I think that you just got to make sure that you have consistency.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
And kudos
yes,
to Brooke, and I wish everyone will find Brooke.
yeah. And we love your Instagram. I mean, we follow it pretty closely.
Yeah, so kudos to, yeah, she does an amazing job.
Good job, Brooke. Okay, so next slide, please.
Okay, now, yeah, moving on.
Okay, so this is a tricky one, right? So when people come to your website, like, how do you maintain a consistent aesthetic? Like, right? Because you want to visually be consistent, but you also need to be unique to each of your clients. So I think like the interweave is, you know, you obviously have kind of a baseline aesthetic. And I think that whatever your baseline aesthetic should be, whether it's like vintage, or if it's more modern and clean, or if it's more eclectic, or if it's more tropical, or it's colorful, whatever your shtick is, keep that consistent throughout your portfolio. And then you can go a little this way and a little that way and a little up and a little down, but you maintain this kind of visual consistency. And I think for us, I've always been attracted to modern, like Design Within Reach is probably one of my favorite furniture stores. And I love how clean and I love the textures that they use, and I love the woods, and it definitely has like a mid-century vibe. But I also really love like textiles and color and patterns and mixing a hybrid of texture, you know, leather with straw, with fabric, with velvet, with you know, tulle, like whatever. I think mixing textures is a really important thing for my work. So a lot of my work you will see, sometimes it can lean a little cleaner, sometimes it can lean a little more aesthetic, sometimes it can even lean like a little playful and fun, but there is a general interweave. So make sure that you're kind of keeping that consistent. And then I think also too, like, what is the narrative around your work? And, you know, in terms of like when you're working with a photographer, I think it's really important to talk with the photographer before you actually have your event and say like, these are the highlights of the things that are like really important to us and to the client. Like, for example, you might be like, the client spent a lot of money on paper goods, so we got to make sure that we crush like all their paper goods. So let's make sure we have the cocktail napkins with cocktails, and let's have the invitation like 6 ways, and let's like do it creatively. It doesn't always have to be on a flat lay. Maybe it's leaning in on a palm, or maybe it's leaning against the cocktail. I don't know, but I think it's important that you collectively talk with the photographer about the highlights. Now, we put together design decks that kind of talk about the entire project. You know, what's the vibe, what's the inspiration? Oh, I actually brought one here. So let's see, this one was from, this is one of the weddings that we did in the book, one of the first weddings from Summer Love. So we put together a design deck. Now, this particular deck, we bound it, because we bring this on site so that we can show the client. And so we have a point of reference, and we bring this for the client, for the videographer, for the venue manager. We make a bunch of these so everyone has it. So it has a general vibe. Then it has kind of inspiration for the ceremony. And I'm sorry, I'm going through this really quickly. Let's see, here's some like furnishings that were chosen for this particular event. More inspiration on kind of like flatware and cakes. And then we've got more inspiration on furnishings. Then we get into floor plans. I mean, it's a real full comprehensive kind of visual walkthrough for everyone that's participating in the event. Because, you know, your tenting company might come up and be like, wait, what the hell are you doing? I know what I'm doing for tenting, but like, what's it going to look like visually? So you will kind of want to get them all on the same page. So we put together.
Yeah, everything is meticulously planned. Yeah, so everyone will be on the same page.
And again, back to the branding, everything is branded. And then this goes with the client, goes with the tenting company, goes with the florist. They all have a copy of it. They understand kind of like what
to everyone who's involved.
Yeah, exactly. And then what we do is we actually turn that into tear sheets. So actual tear sheets are like, okay, here's the ceremony. These are the chairs we're using, the linens we're using. These are the flowers, inspiration for the flowers. You know, it has all the particular details broken out by ceremony, cocktails, dinner, so that whoever's setting it up, again, has the kind of tear sheet. They know exactly what it is that they're looking at. But I think, again, going back to this kind of like storytelling and working and collaborating with your photographer, you know, do you want to have, like, what's the look? Do you want it to feel really perfect? Do you want them to make sure that they get those kind of raw moments, like the eating the pizza? Do you want to have them photograph, you know, in the kitchen when they're making the food? I think it's important that you communicate and articulate to the photographer. And once you have a relationship, like this book was published by Norman and Blake, and we've done 15, 20 weddings with them by now. So we don't even have conversations with them most of the time. They look at a deck and they understand, and we have a quick conversation before the event starts about some of the touch points. But anytime we're working with a new photographer, we're like, here's kind of a list of the things that we would hope that you would capture. And then obviously, like, we want the B-roll and we want some of those raw moments. There's a really great photo that we have from our recent wedding we did at the Soho farmhouse of the bride. She was doing like her 3rd outfit change, and she literally was having her hair and makeup done in the kitchen. There's like pots and pans all behind her, and she's like getting her lips done. You know, she's like, you know, got a robe on, her like thighs hanging. I mean, it was like such a beautiful raw moment. It's in black and white. It was captured so perfectly. Sophie Bernard shot that. And like, that's like one of my favorite photos from that wedding. So I think, again, just make sure that you get some of those real behind the scene moments. Okay, next slide, because I think I'm kind of running out of time.
The behind the scene treasure.
So again, I'm going to talk like really quickly about my book because I want you guys to buy it. So there's a QR code down
And there's
here.
a QR code. Actually.
Yeah, QR code, so you can try it with your phone right now. Yeah, and just to open it on, it opens the Amazon, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is how it works with books. So Amazon, if I get enough pre-orders for Amazon, they recognize it as like this really successful book. And it's like their algorithm pushes it to the top when people are searching for weddings. So the more Amazon purchases I can get and the more reviews, the reviews like mean so much. You can even just be like, this book is awesome. Loved it, head to toe. This book
Yeah,
is
something simple. Yeah.
anything. I would be so grateful if you guys would do that for me. So, okay, let me
Yeah.
show you a couple of things inside the book, and then you got to buy it to see the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's walk
We do
through it.
have,
I encourage you to buy, pre-order this book, guys.
Okay, we have 10 more minutes
Yeah.
before,
Okay,
before wrapping
yeah.
up, so we have some
So
time.
I can be pretty
Yeah.
quick. So next slide is, so here's one of the chapters called Summer Love. This was a wedding that took place in Atherton. And just for like understanding of how this book is written, the narrative around this book is not about the couples. It's not about like how they met or where, you know, any of the things that related to them personally as a couple. It's about how we designed these weddings in the spaces that where they take place. So this talks specifically about the details, like this beautiful floral chandelier that Studio Mondine created, which is like next level gorgeous. And I probably had 10 clients be like, I love that. Can we do that? So this client, it's funny because she really wanted it to feel sexy. And like when I thought of sexy, I thought, okay, first of all, I love that because everybody wants like pale pink and white, and that's boring, right? Because we've done that a million times. So this was a really fun wedding to design, not only because the couple had amazing style, the mom had amazing style. She had this gorgeous home in Atherton, big, beautiful grassy backyard, beautiful pool. So we decided that we were going to go like black on black on black. So we did this like matte black cladded structure with this sheer black fabric. We did a black carpet. We did black chairs. And then we did these beautiful clear glass tables where the candles were like literally burned all day long. So the wax was like just spilling down onto the slate, onto the tables. It was really, really stunning. But this is just like a great gallery. It does talk about how to build a floral chandelier in case you're a florist. It's kind of interesting. She also was really interested in like LED, like the signage was like kind of a big thing at the moment. So we had a couple of these neon signs placed intermittently throughout. I also, I'm so proud of this moment. I don't know why I like to talk about it all the time, but you can't see it in this photo, but we had a black.
But you can see it in the book.
You can see it in the book, but on the floor in black, I wrote, I wanted it to say dance here. I don't know. It was kind of a fun little thing. So we had these vinyl stickers that said dance here in the middle of the dance floor, drink here on vinyl on the bar. Like we just came up with these vinyl stickers and put them all over the place. Like obvious, intuitive things that were kind of funny. Yeah. And there's a really great photo. You can't see it. It's really dark where you can see it says dance here and it's in like a tattoo-y looking script. Yeah, where she's dancing. So
yeah,
anyways,
love those details.
That's great that
and it feels sexy.
Good. Okay, I'm glad. It
your
was
voiceover, it feels
mission.
Yeah, sexy.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad it feels sexy. Okay, next slide.
So yeah, give us some hint. How shall we feel now? Oh,
the fresh Fiesta.
Fresh Fiesta.
Well, what we were hoping for is when you walk, this is at Turtle Beach at One and Only Palmilla in Cabo. And what we were hoping is when you walk through that metal gate to go down to Turtle Beach, that you were going to be like, holy shit, this is epic, right? You've got this beautiful white sand, this blue ocean in the back, and it's just like slamming with hot pink in your face. And thankfully, this couple was down with this color palette because we worked with Pina Kate, who's an incredible florist. And she just like brought all the pink to the table. So we went pink on pink on pink. You can see I'm into monochromatic. And we wanted it to just be about all the pink and everything else was neutral. So this was a really fun one. I wish, again, you can't see her fabulous outfit Cece was wearing in the photos, but she had on this like beautiful, I don't even know the designer, gold sparkly shimmer dress, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
So,
It looks
next-
festive. It looks colorful. Yeah, so beautiful.
And the photographer did also a great job
Yeah.
Okay, next slide.
delivering.
Next slide.
Okay, so now we're like going a totally different direction, right? So this client wanted like English garden in Jackson Hole. It was like quite an eclectic approach to what you would typically see in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which is a mountain town. You know, typically you would see like everybody leaning into like horns and rustic wood and fur and all those things. And she was like, hell no, I want something like really classic English garden. So this was kind of fun to create. The ceremony took place on one of their putting greens. And like, as you can see, it's like really gorgeous with the background, but we built this kind of circular platform. So they were a little bit raised, did this gorgeous floral aisle. And it was like quite a beautiful English garden in Jackson Hole. And even down to the detail on the bars were stenciled with some of the floral accents that were throughout the paper material. And then when they came down to dinner, they walked into this beautiful, they call it a glass tent, but it's definitely not glass. It's made out of stretched vinyl, but everyone seems to call it the glass tent.
Yeah, I mean, it has
Perception is reality.
perception's reality. It has
Right.
its, It
yeah,
looks
but then people are like, how do they do that with the glass? You're like, no,
Yeah.
it's made of glass.
And like in England, they have all this amazing like glass houses.
Right, the
So
greenhouses, yeah.
yeah, once again, so yeah, you kind of complete the theme, and the
Right.
background looks like it's AI generated. So beautiful.
Well, we just like didn't want to, we were like, we can't, this is going to be a giant expense, but we really feel like the glass tent in this situation is imperative. To be
landscape,
able to see this view, it was stunning. And luckily they were in the tent long enough to be able to experience the view. The one thing that sucks about these glass tents is like, you really do need to have them be sitting in there for a little while to enjoy it. Otherwise it's kind of a waste if you're walking in, sitting down and it's dark. So next slide. And then I think this is the last one in the gallery. This is a wedding we did in Japan for a couple who got married at Naosima Island, which is an art island in the middle of the Seto Sea. It's one of the most spectacular places I've been to in my entire life. I have the joy of saying I've been there 3 times now, which is amazing. I did enjoy the fact that there was basically a monsoon right before the ceremony. So it was like downpouring and crazy rain. But this is, you know, we really leaned into kind of this cement backdrop. There was a lot of cement. There was a lot of modern. There was a lot of these like big circular openings. And this artist, I'm probably saying it wrong. Yayoi Kasama. She's kind of known for these large scale sculptures, this yellow pumpkin with the polka dots. I'm sure you've seen her work before. I think she did a collaboration with Hermes, Louis Vuitton. Last time I was in New York, she had a big collab. She's been doing this art for years and years and years, but she's kind of like the iconic person at Naosima Island. And there's several different museums around the island. And this one, we just, like I said, we just kind of leaned into this like really modern, really clean. Ikebana was a big piece of this floral component. We worked with Studio Mondine to do arrangements so it felt one with the space. We didn't want it to feel like you were seeing some big hydrangea floral arrangement like you would in Napa. So she did a really incredible job. And I think on the next slide, you can actually see the photo of the bride. I wanted you to see the bride. This was her floral hair crown. It's not in the book, but I wanted you to see it. This floral hair crown took like 2 hours. Studio made this. It weighed 20 pounds.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was my next question. 20 pounds. Okay, around 10 kilos for those.
This was her vision. She wanted this long floral hair crown. And so we did it. She wore it for the ceremony, took it off and was like, oh my God, my neck's going to fall off. But we got the shot.
But I mean, what can't you do for art? Yeah, this is stunning.
It was in Japan Vogue. It was in the US Vogue. It was like, there's so many other images of this wedding.
And also such an inspiration for others.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. And then on this page in the book, this talks about making minimal arrangements, and Studio Mondine actually helped write this section. They have a book about Ikebana floral. So Studio Mondine helped me write this section of the book, but it's pretty cool. And then the next slide. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I also just wanted you guys to know that I also do coaching. If anyone is interested in one-on-one coaching, I've been working with a couple people and I do have some slots for this year. So I wanted you to make sure that you had my email address in case you were interested in working together. And then also I wanted you to know that I am giving one of my signed books away to the 17th person.
Yeah,
who
that was a
signed up
giveaway.
for this conference or this presentation, Catalina Jean. I'm not sure where you're based, Catalina Jean, but
Yeah,
if you
if
Yeah,
you're
and
here,
Catalina Jean, if you
give us
hear,
time sign.
yeah, give us a sign. Just okay.
Yeah, and
Show us how you
so
said it.
we
Yeah.
have like a couple of questions like I see in the chat. So
yeah.
Alex, can you please turn to the page with a QR code? So if people didn't have a chance, they will have a chance to scan it, the QR code. Yeah, thank you so much. To pre-order the book from Amazon. Yeah, and we have a couple of questions. So first of all, will the book available in Europe? I believe, yeah, Amazon actually ships to Europe, to like all the
Yep.
countries.
And also the book's available in Target, Anthropology. It's on like probably 5 or 6 different websites. You can also order it off my website. So it's available in a lot of places. Amazon is always just the easiest, but yeah, Target and Anthropology, pretty psyched about that. So you should be able to get it. I do have a couple colleagues who tried to order it in Mexico and they said that they're not going to get it till early November. And I have someone in the UK that it's showing it won't ship till like also early November. So it might not come. Like if you order the book, if you pre-order it, it will literally arrive on the 22nd of October. I think if you order it today, it will be there on Tuesday. But if you're not in the country, I think it's going to take a little bit longer. But
Yeah,
but
I
you
mean,
can get it still for the Christmas. It's gonna be the Christmas.
yeah.
And there is another question about your coaching. Do you coach photographers?
I've
Or
never
pretty much
coached.
who do you coach?
Yeah, I generally I coach wedding planners. But happy to have a conversation with photographers about like where they want to go and what they're looking to do. I did coach a catering company a couple years ago and helped them completely rebrand their marketing material. So I have worked with a couple other people that are not traditionally wedding planners. So I'm open to it all. Shoot me an email. Yeah.
Yeah, to the email. So as a follow-up for our
I will put the
today's
email
session,
here.
we will
Yeah.
we will put it in the chat and also we will send out, if you don't mind, Alison, we will send it out in our email.
Yeah, sure.
To everyone who signed up today, as you can also have access to the email and reach out to Alison about coaching and maybe some questions about the book.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that that was such a great discussion. And again, I actually took a lot of notes. I'm old school. I'm taking notes. I hope you did as well. And as you talked, I know that you were busy talking and sharing your wisdom, but we received so many good things and kind words in the chat.
And it's time to actually put some kind words.
Oh, Zina, she already ordered. So
yeah,
that's awesome. And maybe if you sound some buzzes, maybe it was like your Amazon orders coming.
We're definitely ordering like the several copies from us and from our
for our team also.
For our team,
for the Wet Vibes team.
Yeah, so thank you, Alison. Your work has been inspiring for so many years, and like I said, we've been following you very closely. And I actually want to order your previous books as well, so we're gonna chat about that. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I hope you took something away from this.
Yeah, definitely. So many stories, so many insights.
That's for sure. And thanks everyone for joining. You have like maybe 1 second to drop some compliment and kind words in the chat. It never hurts. And with that, have a great rest of the evening for those who are in Europe, and great rest of the day. And we are now hopping on the flight going back to California.
I know.
All right.
Stay well, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Alison. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.